Okay, we'll plan something around student success in the fall. We'll plan a presentation on social media, specifically at either the July or August board meeting. We'll get that together. The science building now, I'd like to invite Leggett to come up and ask David to give a little bit of introduction and science building that we're going to discuss.
Good evening, everyone. As we mentioned in the weekly board update, we asked Leggett Architects to come tonight to discuss the science building. As you know, this project, which began over 18 months ago, went out to bid early this spring, and in mid-April, when the bids were opened, the lowest bid was just a little over $600,000 over the budget. Knowing that we didn't obviously have authorization to add money to this project, we asked Leggett to take a closer look at the project to see if there were any ways of being able to salvage the current bid. Upon looking through all of the individual line items, it was discovered that, and Jeff is prepared to talk in more detail about this, that we would have to make substantial changes if we were able to bid out the building as designed. We did, however, try to put together some options for doing this, and involved the deans and faculty in taking a look at whether we have the ability to do that. And Jeff Tronkowski, who's here tonight, has some of those details. When we were able to all finally put everything together, it became clear that there would have to be substantial changes to the building. But what also was very clear that two significant risks are involved with a major redesign. The first being inflation. Just even delaying to the end of the year is going to cause some inflationary pressure, and no one wants to spend money on inflation.
They're saying 3% more this year and up to 7% more the year after.
For the construction industry, very well could be. The second is what I've been terming appropriation risk. As the longer we delay this building, and particularly with a major building redesign, we could go well into calendar year 2015. And given where the state budget is, and that all construction projects are reappropriated every year, there is risk for not moving forward. So that's why you'll see the administration did recommend that we move forward with the building as designed, but we knew that you would have questions. So we asked Jeff Tronkowski from Leggett Architects to come and give us a presentation.
Well, can you, before we do that,
Sure.
You said mid-April. When were the bids, what specific date did the bids come in?
April 9th.
Pardon?
April 9th.
April 9th.
And what, is that when the 60-day clock starts?
Yes.
So April 9th, May 9th, June 9th. So we had till June 9th to make that decision.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And what was the date that we had that information on the redesign options? That was close to that date. It was a couple days later.
Well, we did not get what I would consider final options to keep the building within budget until the first week of June.
Don't we have another concern that the state funding may be pulled should state leadership change in the governor's race with the election?
That was his,
That was the appropriations.
appropriation risk.
That was the veiled reference to
That was
appropriations.
veiled, right?
So
But I don't think you can hang your hat on something like that.
No.
for God's
I
sake.
do,
You're talking really.
This is Illinois. It's Illinois, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think that's
I do want to be clear and I personally will take responsibility for, I certainly know that I cannot authorize a project or an architect or anyone to have more funds from the college without bringing it to the board. But I also do believe that it's our responsibility to do our due diligence and take the time to carefully examine what brought us to where we were and look at every possible option. That 60-day period was a challenge to try to meet that. As the day became closer, it became less and less clear that this is something that could have been solved administratively.
So when did these master plan updates have it that the bids were canceled and that we were going to rebid? And when did you start putting that in these updates? What date?
I don't know what's happening with it.
But it was before June, correct? And how was that decision made?
That it was going to have to be rebid.
Yes.
It was a default decision because we didn't have additional money to bid the project the way that it was designed.
But we did have a board meeting May 20th that we could have addressed that issue for $600,000.
Except it wasn't $600,000.
It's more than that.
It was
Okay.
2.1 million.
Okay, we could have addressed the issue of 2.1 million at the May meeting, but yet the May meeting came and went, and we haven't even had discussion about this.
We didn't have the redesign options at that time.
But you were already sending out that you were going to rebid the project.
Well, we hadn't had the redesign projects to decide if we should rebid or go forward. That came after the meeting.
Well, I do remember in May meeting in one of these master plans that we were
No, you're
rebidding the
correct.
project.
Yeah.
So how could that decision have been reached without asking the board for more money?
Well, that's,
And I guess the question is, why wasn't it asked?
Yeah.
And I,
I approve those, so let me answer that. It was not a proactive decision that I, David Agazy, or Dr. Weber, or this administration, or we're just going to not put it out to bid and go through a bunch of rigmarole. We did not have authorization from the board to do anything but the default decision, which was you have this amount of money, it has to be rebid within a scope that we can pay for. I don't mean to minimize those, but people are asking, what are you going to do? And that is typically what now, the rebid would have involved doing it within budget. And to do that within budget required quite a bit of work on the part of the architects to tell us what the impact of the changes in scope would be.
Yeah.
That went past the May meeting.
I take all your premises about the additional cost, all of them. I wholly endorse it. But to go 60 days with a board meeting in the middle of that, to not ask this board for more appropriation, and then now facing, no matter what, additional sums of money to pay for whatever we decide, it's mind-boggling.
well, let's ask the question, did the leadership of this board realize that and know that? And if you did, why didn't you share that with us?
We did not. All we knew was that there were some difficulties, that Leggett was trying to put together a proposal of how to address the difficulties within the budget that we had, but we did not know that it was going to trigger any deadline or that we had to have the information discussed until we had all the pieces to discuss them.
So you were not told there was a 60-day deadline?
I didn't know about the 60-day deadline. I did know about the deficit, the overage and the costs. And we were trying to figure out what was going to happen as, how you were going to deal with that, what was the best way to deal with that. But we were waiting for more information from the architect in terms of, was there enough that could be changed in the building without significantly changing the project?
But there was no mention at all
Why
about
didn't-
anything.
Why
before
wasn't the
meeting.
rest
No, we
of
talked about it after the May meeting.
Yeah, not before the May
Raises
meeting,
in
that's
there.
what you're asking.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we discussed this after the May meeting.
So you guys are kept in the dark also then?
Our question to you two, did you know about it before the May board meeting, yes or no?
I honestly don't remember.
We had a
Not-
You did. You did,
Don't
actually.
answer for
I
her,
think,
Jill.
well, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yes or no, because it's, I don't want this.
I think it was in the, I think I knew because it was in the updates before the May meeting. That I had read something about it before the May meeting, as we all did in the updates that were given out in May. But the discussions around it didn't happen until after the May meeting.
Right.
And I also talked with the architects after the May meeting and said, you know, where are we here, what are we gonna do?
But can I say that one of the things I wanted to avoid was a bouncing around of numbers and not, the administration not being clear to the board precisely what our issue was and what we needed to do. At the May meeting, I would have reported to you that we only needed to add $2.1 million to this project. You'll learn tonight that that's not the case, and that we will have to add substantially more to the project than that.
But the point is, there was never any discussion about it. You knew this was coming down. We had a window there. Not one word to the board. That's, oh, gosh.
Well, I don't think
That's
that's
so
all pointed to
inappropriate.
David, I'm asking you folks, you have the chairman and the vice chairman, why that didn't happen.
You know, you're gonna have to tell us if we,
They're taking.
I can tell you right now that I don't remember seeing anything before the May meeting that suggested there was anything that we could be doing. I understood that there was Leggett was having a problem with this building, and that at that point, I'm sorry if I didn't get the significance of that, but I don't remember seeing something where we said, this has got to be on the, you know, we've got to give this our attention, because yes, I'm not as knowledgeable as you are and didn't know about the 60-day deadline that had, you know, the drop dead date and the impact of that. But I don't remember getting anything before the May meeting, and I apologize if there was something that came through in an update and that I didn't act on it.
Well, I know that there was something that was in an update, like the one that Rich was holding up, that said that there were some issues involving the overage, that the bids were over, but I did not know anything about a
It
deadline.
said specifically that it was going to be rebid.
I didn't know anything about a deadline, and I don't know the process by which it has to go through. All I knew is that Leggett was supposed to be working on things to figure out what the best situation was going to be, and that they didn't want to create a whole big issue if it was something that they were able to take care of and move forward with.
So David, you said in May, you would have said to us 2.1 million. If we were still within the 60-day period, how much is that amount now?
The correct amount in May would have been, we go here tonight, 4.3 million.
And that has nothing to do with it going past the 60 days and all that.
It just took time because the dollar amount was large enough that to be, you know, extraordinarily careful with a new number and all the impacts of the changes that would take to get to that new number.
Is this a function of architects and administration, or is there a building management team, or is there anyone else that comes in to look at these numbers?
Was a capital development board project. It is, the construction manager is the capital development board. They do require that there's cost estimating, that contract is held by the architect.
Right. So the capital development board couldn't have come up with accurate figures by the May board meeting or within the 60-day period?
They would rely on the architect.
On the architect, okay.
Should we move forward then with the presentation, and the board can still ask questions after that? You'll have more background. I think, is Jeff here? Yes.
We do it upstairs.
You have it at your place. You have the presentation at your place.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was something else that was going on the